I'm 29 years old, a network engineer for a healthcare system, and up until recently, I was in a relationship with Amber, who's 27. We've been dating for almost a year and a half after meeting at a Super Bowl party through mutual friends. Things took off quickly, maybe a little too quickly in hindsight. Amber was always a social one, constantly posting photos of her brunches, coffee runs, and curated lifestyle for social media. She works as a social media manager for a local boutique and is all about the aesthetics. I'm more of a quiet type, a homebody really. I spend time gaming with my close-knit group of friends from college and grabbing a beer once in a while, nothing fancy. Amber had a taste for upscale dining. She loved those trendy restaurants with no prices on the menus and plates that looked more like exhibits than meals. I didn't mind indulging occasionally, especially for special moments, but I also introduced her to some great local spots that were more about the food than the flair. She liked them, though her compliments often came across as slightly patronizing. "Such a cute little hole in the wall," she'd say, like she was doing a place a favor just by being there. There were red flags I overlooked, like the time she forgot her wallet on multiple dates, always ordering the most expensive wine without asking, or when she asked for my credit card info just 3 months into the relationship because of some emergency. But I let it slide. She was gorgeous, magnetic, and seemed genuinely interested in a regular guy like me. We never moved in together. I own my condo, bought it before we met, and she lived with a roommate. She had a key to my place, something I didn't think much of until everything fell apart. Last Thursday, she messaged me, "Hey, babe, can we do a cute romantic dinner tomorrow? Just us. I miss quality time with you." I was honestly thrilled. It had been a while since we had a proper evening to ourselves, and I thought it'd be a great chance to reconnect. I made a reservation at Bastille, a fancy French place downtown she'd been hinting at for months. Not cheap, but I wanted it to be special. Friday night. I showed up early in a tailored suit, my best one, the kind I only wear to weddings or interviews. I got us a table for two and sipped wine while waiting. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed. "We're walking in now." I looked up and saw Amber walking in, not alone, but followed by 5 other women I recognized from her social media posts. "Surprise!" she chirped, kissing me on both cheeks. "I brought the girls. Hope you don't mind." Mind? I was stunned. She told me this was supposed to be a romantic dinner for the two of us. The staff was already rearranging the table to seat 7. I barely had time to react before a friend Madison smirked and said, he thought this was date night. Amber slid the menu in front of me, gave a little wink, and said, "If you can't afford my circle, you can't afford me." Then, turning to her friends, she added, "Order whatever you want, girls. Eric's got it." I sat there trying to understand what the hell was happening as they all started chatting, ordering drinks and appetizers like it was ladies' night, and I was their server. "Don't be so uptight," Amber whispered, touching my arm. "This is good for us. My friends need to see you can provide." Provide? Since when was I applying for the role of provider? The waiter came by, and again, without asking me, Amber ordered 2 bottles of Cristal champagne. "Not the house kind," she added with that photo-ready smile. As the meal went on, I was pretty much invisible. They gossiped about people I didn't know, shared inside jokes, and occasionally threw glances my way like I was part of some evaluation. Finally, one of her friends, Taylor, turned to me and asked, "So Amber says you work with computers or something, like IT support?" Before I could clarify, another friend chimed in, "Doesn't really matter what he does as long as the card works, right?" They all burst out laughing. Amber didn't say a word to defend me. She just sipped her champagne and smiled. "He's good sponsor material, stable job, owns a condo, no roommates to annoy us." Sponsor material. That's when it hit me. I wasn't a boyfriend. I was a financial asset. I barely touched my food while they continued eating, laughing, and snapping photos of every course from 5 angles. The wine kept flowing. Dessert came and went. Amber finally went to the restroom, and that's when the masks really came off. "You know she's still talking to her ex, right?" Madison said, scrolling through her phone casually. It felt like I got hit in the gut. You didn't think you were the only one, did you? Another friend added. Amber likes to keep her options open. Taylor, sipping her drink, chimed in. Derek's just figuring stuff out. She's just keeping you around for stability. Derek, the toxic ex she swore she cut ties with 6 months ago. Suddenly, everything made sense. The cold laughs, the dismissive glances, the feeling that I was being used. When the check arrived, Amber didn't even pretend to look at it. The damage? $1,763.42. I paid the bill in silence. Amber leaned over, patted my hand, and said, "This is what big boys do. They take care of their women and their women's needs." That was the moment something clicked inside me, not in anger, but in absolute clarity. I stood up, told them I needed to use the restroom, and walked right out of the restaurant. I called my bank, canceled every card Amber had access to, went home, and locked my condo. The next morning, I woke up to 52 missed calls and one message. "Where did you go?" That night cost me more than just money. It shattered every illusion I've been holding on to. But in a strange way, it was worth it. A brutal, necessary wake-up call. I had even left a generous tip for the waiter, who'd had to endure our table. Then I stood up and told Amber, "I need to make a quick work call. Server issue. I'll be back soon." She barely acknowledged me, already absorbed in gossip about someone's botched cosmetic procedure. But I didn't step outside to make a call. I went straight to my car and drove home. On the way, I contacted my bank and credit card providers. A few months earlier, I'd made the mistake of adding Amber as an authorized user on a couple of my credit cards, just in case of emergencies. I'd also share my login for streaming services like Netflix and Amazon. That night, I systematically shut everything down. I canceled every card she had access to and requested replacements. I changed the passwords for all my online accounts. Streaming, shopping, you name it. Her address was even saved in my Amazon account, which I quickly removed. Back at home, I remembered something more urgent. Amber had a key to my place. I called a 24-hour locksmith immediately. It cost me $320 for emergency service, but honestly, it was a small price to pay for peace of mind. I also messaged my neighbor Jim, who's on the condo board, to let him know that Amber and I had broken up. I warned him she might try to cause trouble. Once I'd handled everything, I shut off my phone and, for the first time in months, slept soundly. The next morning, when I turned my phone back on, it lit up with 52 missed calls. 43 from Amber, the rest from unknown numbers I figure were her friends. There were 96 texts. Most were desperate or angry. "Where are you? Pick up your phone." And a lot of WTF, Eric. The last one from her just said, "Where did you go?" I took a breath and responded, "Home, where I should have been all along." Then I blocked her number. But things didn't end there. Apparently, after I left the restaurant, Amber and her friends tried to order more drinks, only to find out the card they were using had been canceled. According to a mutual friend who called me later, they scrambled to cover the bill. Amber, of course, loudly claimed I was broke and had no funds. She made a big scene, as usual. By Sunday, Amber had created a new Instagram account just to message me. I'd already blocked her number, so this was her way of getting around it. The message she sent was peak manipulation. "I can't believe you embarrassed me like that in front of my friends. You know how important appearances are in my industry. It was just one dinner, Eric. If you can't even handle that, how are you supposed to handle a future with someone like me? Real men don't ghost. Real men don't cancel cards without warning. That was immature and petty. I thought you were different. I thought you valued me." I didn't reply, but I did screenshot it. That night, I got a text from Jim saying Amber had shown up at our building pretending she'd lost her key and needed to get into my unit. Thankfully, Jim remembered my warning and told her I wasn't home. When she insisted she just needed to grab a few things, he stood firm and told her she needed to go through me directly. She made a huge scene in the lobby before storming off. Then came Monday. That afternoon, while I was at work, security called me. Someone claiming there was a family emergency needed to see me. I went down, and there was Amber right in the lobby, her tears streaming perfectly without ruining her makeup. She didn't even let me say hello. "How could you do this to me?" she cried. "I tried to order Uber Eats last night, and my card was declined." "That was my card," I said calmly. "You had permission to use it. That permission's been revoked. You can't just cut me off. What about my subscriptions? Spotify, HBO, Amazon?" I almost laughed. "Those are your subscriptions. They should be on your accounts, paid with your money. I had plans for us," she said, her voice growing louder. "I was going to move into your condo this summer. We talked about this." "No, we hadn't. Not once." "Please leave," I told her, "or I'll ask security to escort you out." Her tone flipped instantly. She stepped closer, voice soft and sweet now. "Baby, I'm sorry about dinner. I thought you'd be happy to meet my friends. Let's talk tonight, just us." I stepped back. "There's nothing to talk about. We're done. Don't contact me again." The switch was immediate. The fake tears disappeared. Her voice was sharp. "You think you can just dump me? Do you know how many guys would kill to be with me?" "Then call one of them," I said, "but maybe check their credit score first." Security did end up escorting her out. That was 2 weeks ago. Since then, her friends have bombarded me with messages, calling me cheap, broke, insecure, and worse. She told everyone I abandoned her with an unpaid bill because I couldn't afford it. Conveniently, she left out the part where I paid almost $2,000. Some mutual friends have sided with her. Others, especially those familiar with her spending habits, reached out quietly to say they get it. She tried to get into my building twice more, once pretending she was delivering a package, another time claiming to be my sister and saying she needed to feed my cat. I don't own a cat. After the second attempt, the building added her photo to their do not admit list. Last night, I got a final message from another unknown number. I'm certain it was her. "You'll regret treating me this way. Good luck finding anyone else who'd even look at you." Maybe she's right. Maybe I won't find someone as physically flawless or socially connected as Amber. But I'd rather be alone than be someone's financial plan. Dinner at Bastille cost $1,763.42. The emergency locksmith added another $320. Walking away from someone who treated me like a walking wallet, that was free and worth every cent I didn't spend.